Hi, it's me again. I know I used a title that probably caught your eye. The U.S. military would never turn on its citizens, on American citizens. Or would they? Let's explore this. They have been, they have fired on U.S. citizens numerous times in the past, such as probably definitely the biggest case is the American Civil War, But all those people are dead now. So let's discuss this further. And I'm not going to bring up Kent State or anything like that, anything that happened decades ago. But we are going to talk about the modern day, or at least as long as I've been alive. The police have been used to enforce red flag laws and break up peaceful protests and things like that. But this video is not about the police. I mean, I have displayed my love for the police on numerous videos previous to this one. And if you are interested, you can go look them up. They're all over the place. But anyway, moving on. The United States military personnel. He takes an oath to defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to obey all orders of the President and the officers appointed over him. Him being the soldier, obviously, the President is the commander in chief. But anyway, the question is, would the United States military turn on American citizens? Now, if we look at that, what we see here is the military is programmed from day one to be obedient, and that's what basic training is all about. It's basically obedience school for adults, or as my mentor put it, public school is basic obedience school, and boot camp or recruit training is just advanced obedience school. It's indoctrination, and like they'll have you do stuff like dig a hole, now fill it back up, and the worst word you can say in the military is why. What's up with that? Because you're not there to philosophize. You're there to follow orders without question. And now, if we look at what happened previously during the COVID-19 pandemic, when coronavirus was in full swing and the vaccine shit was going on. Now, I got the vaccine of my own free will, and I encourage everybody to do the same. However, I do not support mandatory, vaccinations for this shit. But anyhow, it definitely that's just a topic for another time. But what is important is that a lot of soldiers said no. Marines, sailors, airmen, and Space Force people said, nope, not doing it. And they were mustered out. And now that shows that there was a good portion of them, a very large number of them, but they the majority of the military still did as they were instructed to. And I'm not saying that they will violate the Constitution if ordered to do so, but they very well, it's a good indication that they will. And it's like also, a lot of military personnel don't really know what's in the Constitution. They really aren't all that smart typically. I've met some, I've seen and met some really smart guys who are in the military. I mean, Tim Kennedy's pretty smart. Jocko Willick's pretty smart. And, those guys, as is John Lovell, and things like that. Sean Ryan's pretty intelligent too, as is Robert O'Neill. But I've seen a lot of military heroes whose intellect I was not too impressed with, and I've also met a few soldiers who I've met who I was not impressed with their intellectual capabilities at all. But seeing as how they don't know what's in the Constitution, yeah, I'm sure they know the Second and First Amendments pretty well. but do they care enough about it to risk their pay? Do they care enough about it to risk their job? Do they care enough about it to break from their units? The answer is probably not. If ordered to do so, they will probably do it. And posse comitatus is just words on paper if there's nobody around to enforce it. And who's going to really hold the military accountable for what they do under the orders of a tyrannical president? And is the U.S. military unbeatable? Absolutely not. The Viet Cong slash PAVN, People's Army of Vietnam, and the Taliban did that. They beat the U.S. military. Now, if you're a veteran of either Vietnam or Afghanistan, thank you for your service, but you were on the losing side. And no, you didn't lose any tactical battles, at least not any major tactical battles. But strategically, it was a defeat. And some would argue that it was a political defeat, not a military one. But to the end means to an end is the military is just a tool. And if you win politically, you win the war. If you don't achieve your political objectives, you lose the said war. And but see, I could go on about how to win as a guerrilla, you just have not to lose, and to lose as lose counterinsurgency, you just have to not win. Because if you don't win as in counterinsurgency, you lose. If you don't lose as an insurgent, you win. But that's enough about that. The military, I suspect, will likely fracture a good bit with, I would say probably the majority of them would go with the government. But you could see, like, whole units breaking away and shit like that, and siding with the people. But you know, it's neither here nor there. The military is indoctrinated and brainwashed to do what it's told. Spec ops are a little different. They they are allowed much more there's much more room for free thought in that in those kinds of units. However, in the big military, they don't want to hear it, you know. And you know, I heard a story from an individual who served in Iraq, and unfortunately this man is now deceased due to alcohol poisoning. He drank himself to death, unfortunately. However, he did tell me that, you know, 63% of his army unit, I don't know if he was talking about a platoon, company, or battalion, or whatever, but 63% of them ended up failing a marksmanship test before they were about to go overseas. Now, there are those who, another gentleman who served said, you know, those guys, a lot of them probably just failed intentionally to get out of deployment, you know? And I'm like, damn, they're not bad shots, they're cowards. That's even worse. And the thing is if they don't have the balls to go over there and fight a few little insurgents, I know I just said they won, but being in counterinsurgency, you have a fairly good chance of coming back alive and with all your limbs in working order. But they're not going to go up against the government. You see, they have been trained and indoctrinated, as most of us have, on a higher level, yes, but as most of us have, to obey authority. That's what they say, that a soldier's job is to kill. No, it's not. His job is to follow orders. And so when push comes to shove, will the military turn on American citizens? I'm going to go and say, for the most part, yes. Now, you will see a lot of desertions and you will see a lot of units go rogue in rebellion. But I think that, if we're to fire on citizens who are, dissenting, I'm pretty sure they will do as told. And so, I know I'm wearing a Jocko Willink rash guard right now. I highly suggest you get one. They're pretty cool. See? And remember, discipline equals freedom. But, I have, dealt with a lot of things. And, up until recently, it was pretty much blasphemy to speak anything against the military, that. I think it kind of started with Donald Trump saying, I like people, he's a war hero because he was captured, I like people who weren't captured, about John McCain. But Trump is a fucking idiot, but he does certainly not care about being politically correct, and he does not care who he offends, be they left wing or right wing. But you see, I am at my wit's end because a lot of people worship the military and law enforcement still, but thankfully the blind worship is coming to an end. Do I think the military is important? The United States military is the best in the world? Absolutely. Do I think they're important to our national security? Absolutely. Do I believe the lie that they, fight for freedom all the time and do things because it's right? No, not really. I mean, the military, it's like, where they say, oh, the Iraq War was about freedom. It's not about oil, and freedom ain't free, boy. That's a lie I never believed, And it's just, we need to look inward at ourselves to find threats to freedom. Now, were we attacked on 9/11? Yes. Is Al-Qaeda a danger to the U.S.? Yes. Is ISIS a danger to the U.S.? Yes. Is Iran a danger to the U.S.? Yeah. But you see, those things in the Middle East, it's like there are greater threats here. And a lot of them are politicians who want to take away our rights. Freedom, as they say, freedom ain't free. But it may not, but it's probably not going to be the military who pays your share, And it's just, anyway. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope I've managed to help you overcome some of the brainwashing you might have endured. And I know a lot of you might be mad at me for saying the things I said in this video, but I don't give a fuck. And if you served, I don't care, because I'm just spitting facts. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be good, y'all. Peace.